them all and all the spam things. And we had some really good people actually at Facebook helping us behind the scenes. So thank you. I'm going to keep sharing now. So.
You're going to keep sharing. Okay, do your job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a busy night. It was a busy weekend of polling to recap over the Labor Day weekend. Special in-studio guest Collin Birkholz making it down for his second guest appearance.
Yeah, my pleasure. It seemed like yesterday I was here Memorial
already
Day
Memorial
night.
Day, yeah.
No, it's Labor Day.
Holiday guest.
Yeah, I'm just
Yes, you're
seasonal
our holiday
part-timer.
Yeah, seasonal part-timer right here. And we have Matt Durbin with the Sidewinder Light Pro Stock from New Philadelphia, Ohio.
I believe so. He'll correct me. He's one that'll forgive me. That's why I picked him.
Runs the Region 2 circuit with the NTPA down there. Tough group of light pro stocks. And then we're going to have Jay Staiger with the MIssouri Invitational Fall Truck and Tractor.
The bracket style.
Yes. That will be coming up this weekend. Is it on just one day, Saturday? Yes. Saturday the 9th. To what town is that in? I mean, do you know?
Some Warrenton, Missouri, I think.
Okay. Some place in Missouri.
That's why we're interviewing.
So, yeah.
We're gonna find out.
Well, you should know this pre-interview, right?
Come on, boss.
I should.
So we are glad to be back, and busy night of polling. I gotta know what I'm doing here.
Collin, talk. Talk about Ridgeland.
Yes.
Oh, we.
Talk about mineral.
You had an interesting weekend.
Yeah, we had just up and down weekend. We went to Mineral Point, back Badger State polling. Seemed like in forever. Rain's been screwing us over, but we didn't go so good. We only went about 2 foot. Our turbo decided to take a dump at the line, and confidence was kind of shook, and we weren't sure really if we wanted to run like chickens with our head cut off to get over to Ridgeland, but good people at Mondovi Tractor set us up. They had a turbo for us waiting there in Ridgeland. So we got it all off for that night, got everything ready to go, and pretty much we were ready to stick it on, and had a pretty good hook at Ridgeland, took the lead at the time, and then Kurt Offdahl had a great run, come behind us, took the lead and took the win, but still had an awesome time at Ridgeland, just a completely spectacle of an event.
Tell Kurt right now he's invited to Monroe.
Yeah, Kurt's invited to Monroe.
We want all the state light pros there.
Yeah, it's
in Monroe, September 23rd.
Yep. So great event, just a spectacle and event.
Any Region 2 tractors out there want to come too? So
yeah,
they'll be gone with theirs.
They have an OSTPA, and they got a bunch of local stuff around there. That's a big event. That's kind of their last hoorah that weekend too, which is understandable. All Wisconsin guys can have a little hoorah in Monroe.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking forward to that, and just a few short weeks away. We'll be talking about more of that later tonight on the Badger State Track Pulling Weekly Show. We'll be recapping points. We crowned a champion over the weekend, so congratulations to Josh Stahl in the Thicker Than Blood and the Pro Stock Diesel Trucks in Plymouth, Wisconsin. He officially became the 2017 points champion, knocking off Jared Ripp after a three-peat for Pro Stock Diesel Trucks. So that, I believe that's his first points championship at Badger State. That's what I was told on our Facebook Live videos. So we'll have a busy weekend to recap. We have 2 polls left with Badger State already. Hard to believe. We had the weekend off. I'll be heading south for the weekend. I'll be heading to Unionville, Missouri on Friday night to help Clint in the Western Series, and I'll be shooting back north to Mabel, Minnesota for the Tri-State finale up there.
And then last Grand National Hoorah for NTPA and Sandwich. Big fair down there. Yes. Great event. And have that ECI event in Platteville.
I'm going there. Tony and I are going there.
The Remedy will be in Platteville, Wisconsin.
Yep. Tony's taking well spent and the Remedy over there.
It's like a 4-1 shootout.
Right?
They have like 5
events.
events.
5 hooks. Yep. They started in Springville, then they did Blairstown, Tripoli, Platteville. I think Platteville must be the 5th one then.
Platteville's last, the last one, I believe.
Yeah, Marengo had him too, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this is for all the marbles in Platteville. Yeah. I don't know.
I know Scott Olson's been to all of them. Looks like
Brandon Bill Feigenbaum goes to them all, I believe, with the Instigator. All tough. Yeah, Hopkins wants to come, but he had a little pump troubles, but told him conservatively.
He's got some time.
He's got 3 weeks, so.
Yeah, that'll be great. We get the couple of the unlimited super stocks. I know Blackburns bring them over. we get a few from the Champions Tour as well. That sometimes make
Jeff
a trip
Hurt
up.
come down last year, and
Yep.
Hull's come down.
Yep.
So,
So normally we'll have like 5 or 6, 7
Yeah.
or 8, depending on.
But,
I
you
think
know,
Gansmere comes over as well. He pulls Tri-State, and the Region 5 and 3,
mhm.
and probably just Region 5. I don't know if Region 3 has the alcohol tractors.
No, I don't think
So
so.
just Region 5, but so there's a great group of them we normally don't get to see with a Badger State show, and then we also pick up a few sometimes with the Grand National Pro Stocks. Last year we had
Canes
the
come
Canes.
down, and Harmon's with that.
Yes, the
that
Preparation H.
Preparation H. I love that thing.
Yes, and we had a huge light limited super stock class last year as well when it was just diesel. So I would imagine, it should be just a huge class there.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot to talk about in the weeks to come for that. So mark on your calendars if you're here in the Upper Midwest for September
Michael Palmer said
23rd.
hi.
Hi, Mike.
Is that the Red Avenger?
Red Avenger and the Red Avenger Classic's been running real good this year.
Yep.
Got a first and third, one night Fort Recovery, and he did real. I can't remember how he did the
The
other night.
biggest group of light pros is in that Ohio, Indiana, right?
Yeah,
It's
there's
concentrated.
yeah, and Fort Recovery, and that's the big weekend really. That end of July
You
where
guys went to that.
we went there again. We didn't fare so well, but Junior did, so that was good for Wisconsin guys. He got like 3rd and 5th, so.
Okay.
But they had 29, and I think we had like mid-20s, and we had like 29 the second night.
I'll look it up. Just plug it in. Keep talking.
Screwing up
But
the timing, Schultz.
I know. we're so professional here. We have everything planned out to a script here.
Okay, we're ready. We are true in
So
what we do.
also, you guys only have one hook left for Badger State.
Yeah.
The points got really interesting
Yeah,
after Mineral Point Saturday.
Yeah, we had
We're
10
gonna keep
points.
it interesting.
Yeah,
Alan.
we don't want to just cold.
Appreciate you and your dad doing that.
Yeah,
The
no.
drama will be pretty high in Monroe.
Yeah, it'll
What a great class.
went from
So,
10 to
yeah,
4,
no,
went from
it's
10 to 4, and it's a great class, and everybody's competitive. That's what makes it interesting, So
I believe like 3 or 4 classes will come down to that last hook in Monroe.
yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Cool.
Oh, dang.
Now we can
I know
talk.
now. Oh boy, now we have the peanut gallery.
We're like those 2 old guys that's
Well, good thing I can
criticizing
just
us.
good thing I can just turn down his mic and then
Yeah.
I'm with you.
He won't even know. He can just talk in there like some nights and doesn't even realize that the mic isn't on. So
Let's get Durbin on the
Yes.
phone. Let's harass somebody else.
Yeah.
Besides each other.
Oh, I don't want to harass him. He's too nice.
I think everybody understands what they're
Palmer
doing.
will agree with that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will agree with
So
that.
if you have questions for Matt Durbin and the Sidewinder, type them into the comments. Any funny stories, anything like that, we'd enjoy that. So we brought Collin in. He's our light pro expert.
Yeah, light pro.
You're
expert,
the beer money pulling team light pro expert.
Yeah.
So see how we do here.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Mr. Durbin, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Colin?
Oh, doing pretty good. I'm making you world famous, I guess.
Following your footsteps, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, share the spotlight, I guess.
Yes.
You're just a little guy, Collin. How can you have footsteps?
Damn it. Got me on that one.
Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us tonight at Let's Grow Pulling. So we're happy to have you back. We got our Facebook page back today, so it's kind of like a reunion.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that. That's very exciting.
first
Glad to
official
see you
guest.
guys back.
the first official guest since our comeback.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. I feel honored.
Yeah.
So, I'd never heard of you, Matt, until Keystone in 2016. I hate to start off like that, but I had shared your video earlier today when Collin said he was having you on the show tonight, and can you talk about that pass a little bit? I mean, did you honestly pee your pants a little? I mean, what's it like?
Honestly, Jason, that when that happened, I knew when the box topped that something was amiss. I lost horsepower. I felt it in the seat of my pants. I seen a piston roll out on the track, and I thought, well, okay, we chucked the piston. I had no clue until I got off the tractor it was as bad as what it was. But actually, from all of our determinations, the crank broke between number 4 and number 5, and when it did, it pushed the back half of the crank, which took out the cast rear engine cover, which took out the 2 mains that were still in the back and allowed that crank, flywheel, pressure plate, everything to be a very big piece of iron going around uncontained, and it just totally wiped out the whole bell housing, front of the transmission case, broke the bottom tie bars. Luckily, the top 2 tie bars held it together because there was nothing else holding that tractor from being in 2 pieces.
Yeah. And that's what's the beauty about Poland. Poland's really good with safety, I'd say, just the innovations that have gone on. And then after an event like that goes on, you really learn how big of a family Poland is, really. I'm sure you got a bunch of calls, and anybody was willing to help you, from what you told me. And
that's exactly right. My golly, that night, till I got my phone actually back at the pits, folks like Brandon Hart, Carl Atlas, Ted Dibble with sheet metal at Binder Light, everybody called, said, hey, you're going to need our help. Let us know when you get home what you can do. And it was unbelievable. Made my heart feel really good about being in the Poland family through all that. Yes, we had a catastrophic event, but all them folks that we had spent money with stepped up and in one way or another helped us get that thing back together faster than what we would have if we had to do it all. So made me a big believer in the Poland family, even though I already was, but it just confirmed what I knew in my heart, that this is a good group of people, a good family that I want to be a part of. So, and that being said, the other thing I got to say there is, thank goodness for safety equipment, NTPA standards on that. Everything safety-wise worked because there was people awful close to that track over there, and we had no injuries. So,
yeah.
No, that's a great idea. Great comment, Matt, because people are still very close to the track. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if something like that lets go, it's fun being close to the track like that, but if something does let go, it's going to be bad. And thank God for the safety equipment. And I think all associations have adopted, that NTPA guideline. They were the original ones that got this thing started, in the 60s, and they have been the safety leader, to today, and thank God they do. Because watching your video again, Matt, over and over again today, I'm just glad that tractor didn't pin you in there. To be completely honest, that's what I was scared of when I see something like that.
Well, yeah, and once we got the sheet metal off of it, and that it really was way worse than what it looked like on the video. There wasn't. Well, from the rear end housing forward, the only thing we reused was the fuel tanks, the front tires, and the head and turbo. Other than that, everything on that tractor was bent, broke, stretched, twisted, and it was pretty catastrophic under the sheet metal. So everything worked.
So I didn't mean to get into the horror story of your accident at Keystone. So can you tell the pulling world here, I guess, or whoever's watching our show tonight, we'll do a good job to promote this as much as we can after the show. But who is Matt Durbin? Where do you live? Why are you trucking tractor pulling? Give us some insight. Tell us about your family. Kind of give us a biography of you.
Okay. Well, I'm from the state of Ohio, and in case you fellas from Wisconsin haven't heard of us, we do have a Buckeye team, or we do have a football team called the Buckeyes.
Right? Semi-professional.
Oh yeah.
They pay them out there. They pay them out there to go to college, don't they?
They have Urban Meyer now.
Yeah. Is he like a head coach? Him and who's the guy that coaches? I got quit. They're better than the Browns. When your college team is better than any of your professional teams.
We make fun of the Ohio guys by being Browns fans.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring that up. But anyway, Jason, we're clear on the east side of Ohio, right at the Appalachian Hills or Appalachian Mountains. But we farm in a river valley here, grain farm. We're running about 2,400 acres. My son has about 50 head of registered Angus cow-calf operation. Family farm. My grandfather started in 1929, and then my dad, and they both passed away, so it's down to me and my son Luke now, and the fellows we have help us. But we're in a predominantly dairy region, but a grain valley within that. So that being said, most of our polls for Region 2, the majority of them, it seems like, are 3 or 4 hours away from us on the west side of Ohio. So sometimes I feel like Collin driving to Ohio. I drive that to our polls that are in Ohio.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we've always been involved with local polls here. We are our little village close to us back in the 70s had when modified tractors first come out, super stock. We had 3 events a year there, and I always run the pullback tractor for the sled from the time I could reach a clutch pedal. So that being said, we always went to Bowling Green. We always went to Louisville and watched. And in the 90s, I bought a Pro Stock tractor, and my cousin worked for me on the farm, and we run it a couple years. At that point, we found out my wife had cancer, and she ended up passing away 2 years later, so I ended up with a little fella to raise that was 19 months old, and I said, well, when I get him up big enough, we'll go back tractor pulling, and Luke's now 20, and we're back tractor pulling.
You both got one now, so
yeah,
so
that's more of a story, but now we got 2. So
yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Now Schultz is jealous.
That kind of was all of a sudden deal when the Hara family had some changes going on in their life. It was a real good tractor, a lot of similar from Wipeout components that's in our tractor, and so we kind of knew the tractor, good people, knew the background of it, and had talked to them. We ended up getting with Kevin Banyan, who's my partner on that, who had previously pulled a Central Highlight Pro Stock. We kind of got together and said, yeah, I think we can do this deal, and I already had a semi-trailer that I wasn't using. So kind of made sense that, if we could figure out financially how to do this to haul 2 of them around, use the semi, that makes more sense. We got more horsepower to climb them mountains up to Wisconsin, down to North Carolina.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming down to Colma and stuff and add some Ohio guys to this. You guys run so good, run awesome, so, and it was a good mixture, to say the Ohio and Indiana and stuff, you and Howells and Kendall and Jason and Larry and them all come down. That was great. Thank you guys for coming and stuff. Colma, at least.
It was a great experience for us, and this whole Light Pro clear across the nation. I can't say enough about everybody involved. There's a good group of families involved that wherever you go, everybody kind of works together and looks out for each other, and we've left our trailer at multiple people's farmsteads over the weekend or over the week, and we stayed with Kendall Halkbrenner half the summer this year. So yeah, and we enjoyed coming to Toma. That was an awesome experience. You can't change the weather, and you guys had weather to deal with, but we've all had that this year.
Hopefully it won't make your tractor feel like a boat next year. And hopefully next year you guys can stay for the whole weekend. I know you guys had to go home and go pulling too, so
we went to Indiana and pulled on the way home, but it was a nice adventure, and it'd be great if we had 2 hooks up that way for that weekend. But that's safe. Yeah. We grow it just like you fellas are trying to grow pulling.
Yeah,
I'm all about that too. So we are going to go to, our plan is to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, the state fair here in the middle of October. We enjoy the heck out of that event. That's way different pulling down there, and the people are so wonderful. So
yeah, you've told me they just treat you guys like gold, and the fans are great, and said, would you say they don't have many county fairs in that state, so that that's
my understanding, and yeah. So the state fair is a pretty big deal for them, and they just treat you like royalty, and it's just, we have an awesome weekend. We camp there, and it's a great time. So.
Hey Matt, Ryan Zolik here. Why don't you kind of go over how 2017 has gone for you? I know that there were some big changes for Region 2, how they split you up. If you want to maybe talk about that for you guys, because there's so many polls that you guys were pulling in the past.
Only 35 or what like that.
Yeah. Hi, Ryan. I didn't know you was there. I don't have you guys on live. So.
Yeah, no,
Hi,
Oh
Ryan.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm just the other guy.
Just be happy you don't have to see him.
He's the
Yeah.
he's the brains of the outfit. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Matt, there is no denial. There is no denial of that.
Hey, Ryan, you know that we did this split, and I'm not sure everybody's thoughts on it. There's some guys like it, some guys don't. You know, it's worked out okay. There's a few of us that have tried to run the bulk of both sides, but for the majority, the guys kind of picked, hey, we're going to run west or we're going to run east. And I think we're going to end up with two different winners of it. Potentially, it was going to be tight. I mean, there are a couple guys that run them all that could have been right there at the top. But, you know, the thing with our class, whether you look east or west, I think I added up the other day, of the 22 hooks so far, there's been like 16 or 17 different winners in Region 2, and I think that's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it just seems like every time when I see those different runners, it's like, oh yeah, that guy runs good. Oh yeah, he runs good too. Yeah, he won it. It's understandable.
Yeah.
You know? That's how it goes. And that
Yeah.
You know, when we got like 21st and 23rd, you know, they all run good. You know, it's
Yeah, they
plain
do,
simple.
and any night it can be anybody's game, at which I think forces us all to be better at everything and keeps up in the game in the class. And I think it's just a phenomenal class, and I think it's been great for Region 2 because we have good numbers for events. Some of the other classes have struggled with vehicle numbers, but ours is pretty uniform. I mean, you've got 11 to 15 for almost all the regional events, so it's been good for NTPA anyway.
Yeah, it's also great for the fans because, you know, you really don't know who's going to win each night if you're someone that maybe goes to a couple different polls a year, and you really, it's just a toss-up, and then it also makes it fun because I know some will maybe have a little wagering, you know, a little,
Yeah.
because, you know,
Call-outs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it makes it great. There's a lot of drama for those classes that are so competitive.
Well, there is, you know, and of course we always got to throw in a Michael Palmer. You know, I call him the ambassador of the class, but
The Godfather.
you know, running two hooks and the man just is dialed in constantly, and you know, he teaches us all. So
Yeah, I see he commented on here, giving you grief about beating him in Greenville. How dare you?
I'm sure that was
man.
that was his hometown pool, and actually everything I know about Greenville, I've learned from watching him. So,
Well,
but I've done okay there. Yep.
And you've done really good with both of them. Both of your tractors are running good. The Sidewinder and Forgiven. Could you give us a little rundown how you come up with your Sidewinder name? I'm guessing you don't have a bad deal of snakes over your part of the state. I don't think so.
I catch grief about that a lot. I hate snakes with a passion.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
you probably
with
should
a
not have
passion.
told me that.
I know. Scott Webb's dad, Ed Webb, found that out the first year we run, and that man was relentless. I mean, anywhere I could turn around, he'd be standing there. He'd have a rubber snake or something trying to get me, you know. But so the way that come about, I'm looking for names and thinking, you know, and our old pro stock was called the Night Stalker. I said, well, we can't use that again, even though I really like it.
Yeah.
So I got to come up with something else. And finally I come up one night upon this Sidewinder thing, and I said, you know what? A guy's got to overcome his fears sometime in life.
Yeah.
Let's just name it the Sidewinder. And I like it. It kind of fits the tractor, and I like it.
Yeah,
But
we're just lazy. We're just lazy. We don't name our tractor. We don't bother.
Well, I think it's good for the fans. I really do. From sitting in the stands, you hear kids, you know, and they'll remember Sidewinder long before they're ever going to remember Matt Durbin, or they're going to remember Soup Line Express or Rampage or whatever. And I, you know, I'm a big fan guy that we gotta keep the fans in the stands.
Yeah.
So
what did you mentioned all your different polls and stuff. You got like Riley and stuff. What is your overall favorite place to poll?
Oh boy,
you only got like 35 places and then some.
I got a lot to choose from. I got to tell you, probably outside of Ohio, at this point, Raleigh, because of camping and staying 2 nights, and it's a long trip and it's different country, that probably is my favorite. I love Arcola. I love Greenville. Maybe Greenville can be a challenge sometimes, depending on how the gate people are and all that, but it's got better. So
Yeah. If not, let Mike Palmer know. I bet he can do something about that.
Well, yeah, we just go to Palmer with any trouble out there. So
he'll take care of that.
But back to my tractor, I do have Josh Hersey's the guy that put that thing together after we blew it up, and he never gets enough credit for that tractor. But I've told everybody that's kind of his baby, and he's the mastermind that has made it work the way it works. So I got to thank him on here.
Yeah, I got the pleasure of meeting him at Tomba this year and stuff. Great cook. He's a great cook. I found that out for recovery. Awesome burgers. Always awesome.
He is, yep. And he's got into this thing with Larry Black, and some of these guys have taken his burgers and put an egg on them, and them guys are really liking them burgers with eggs. So
good protein.
Yep. Trying to support the poultry guy,
Yeah.
So looking ahead to it's hard to believe that we're already pretty much rounding out 2017, and the Enderle's only a couple weeks away, and any big changes coming up for 2018 for Lake Pro stock?
Well, I don't know. See, there's some rule proposed.
No.
I don't want any changes.
We're all in the no. We are all in the no club.
Matt, there's nothing that makes me more angry when I hear components for Limited Pro and Light Pro. Oh, it just drives me nuts.
I agree, Jason, and I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
I do see it.
But but I would have built a Pro Stock 2 years ago if they were going to do this to me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So let's limit it if we have to.
My own personal opinion, and I'll share it since we opened the gate, but I probably have the closest thing to my tractor at Harrisburg. Probably is the worst component failure we've had, or the closest thing to a safety issue that we've had from a chassis.
And it was basic. It wasn't anything in the rear end that really warranted. It's just that was those one in a lifetime's things that goes on, and that sure it sucks.
Exactly.
You have to test that stuff, but that stuff worked.
Yep. And if we was seeing that a lot, I'd be all about the component thing, the safety side of it. But we're not seeing that.
Yeah.
A lot is the key word, and we're not seeing a lot.
No, we're not. And I honestly think that nothing against components, but if you go to a component in this class, you take out the guy like me and Jason that want to work on our tractors, that want to build that stuff at home. I think you take us out of the equation to start with.
Absolutely. I'm not ready. I don't think we need it. If it was a true safety issue, I would be all for it, but it's not. And here we go. So I don't know if it's,
I agree.
I'm nothing against component, but that's for diesel supers and Alki supers and pro stocks. That's for the top level guys that want to run at that level with basically unlimited rules, if you will.
I agree. And I really feel like when you look at the light pro class across the country, there's nothing broke there to fix.
No,
it's working. We have good numbers. We have good turnout. It's a fast class. It's got good color. It's to me, it's an exciting class.
Yeah, man, I feel
it's a driver's class.
I agree, man. I feel it's the fastest growing tractor class in the U.S. I mean, I really do, from top to bottom. I think it's it's really growing here in the Midwest and different things like that now. So I'm hoping we leave it alone. So.
I agree, Jason. I agree.
We're getting any comments on here at all?
Yeah. Yep. Weedy's getting on here. He's on Facebook now.
Who is?
Mark Wiederhold.
Uh-oh. Does he have a smartphone now?
He says, why are you so scared of components? And it's easy to say when you have a drop box transmission.
We all do. Drop boxes, they're so nice,
I'm just reading the comments. I don't want to
spend. Mark, what's it going to cost me to go component?
Well, probably I can't answer that, Jason, but it probably, if you started from ground up, would be cheaper to build a component than to build what we're running.
Yeah. I don't want
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I mean, there's rumors on Pull Off every day about me and already trying to sell my tractor, and I'm not. So I don't know
You gave a price on it.
I did $1 million. I said,
Yeah.
so.
But I agree that it's fine the where it is now. It'd be if we were starting a class now, maybe. But there's so much good stuff out there right now, and I respect everybody. I respect people that want it. I'm not going to say anything bad about why people want it. I completely understand why people. want it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I agree.
And especially here in where this class has really exploded the last couple of years, we have like 2 or 3 more tractors being built for next year already. So if there's already, we don't want to scare these guys off who's already put in the work the last couple of years of getting tractors ready for next year.
Yeah.
Right.
But that'll be a conversation for probably another day, I guess. I mean, right at the Enderly, after the Enderly, we'll find out a little bit more of what's going to all go on. And but it's just a great role. Why the class is also great is the lightness of the class, the weight. The weight is something special, and this high horsepower. If our tractors get lugged really that bad, they're just going to fall in its butt. If it's a good track, whoever can find that perfect mixture of RPMs and be able to lug it that much, get it hooked up, that's what makes it such a driver's class too. And that's what's nice. Yeah. We got such a great group of drivers going on.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's phenomenal to just watch everybody growing and getting better, and the changes being made. And this year's been a year with the weather. We've had some really bad tracks, not the promoter's fault. It's dealing with the weather, to really some awesome horsepower, find the lowest gear you got tracks. And it puts a lot of challenge to it, I guess, which was what makes it fun for me. I mean, there's a lot of thinking to be doing and a lot of decisions to be made. And if you look at our results, we chased this thing all summer, and finally here later in the fall with my tractor, we're finally getting it to where it's doing what we want it to do, or we're doing what it wants it to do, I guess. So
we have a question, possible maybe changing the weight up to 8,700 pounds. What is your thought on that?
My own personal thought, I'm fine with it at 85, and I'm one of the guys that needs front end weight because I got a really wide ass.
Well said.
I got a really big cage because of that.
T-shirt.
Yeah, we're gonna start making T-shirts.
We got a T-shirt from Carlton Cope.
Eric Pruitt asked Carlton Cope last year, what did he learn from the drivers' meet at Louisville? And he's not supposed to take his beer to the drivers' meeting.
Don't take beer to the drivers' meeting in Louisville.
And then Matt Durbin saying is going to be, I got a really wide ass.
Yep, there you go.
Matt, you do realize that's going to stick now, because I think the show's reached 20,000 people so far tonight. So.
That's okay. I got to be known for something. I might as well be known for my ass. So.
Hey, white ass Durbin.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Palmer will be on me about that sooner or later. So. But anyway, I'm one of the guys that can use front end weight. I'm most of the time half of what a lot of them guys have to put up there for movable weight. So, but to me, that makes it a challenge. Again, if it was a safety issue that everybody was fighting, okay, move it up. But what's wrong with where it's at? I would be more happy if we got the scale situation figured out across the board.
That's what we've I've kind of discussed around people.
What do they do? I mean, do they have?
They're supposed to put like a 2-ton block on each corner of the scale, and that certifies it, or what's. Because
I read a post. A post on Pull Off about that scales, because that's happened to us here recently from pull to pull, and I know some of the heavier 9,500 pound pullers in our class were mad as hell because they were taking 200 or 300 pounds off of weight, and you get into that huge ass thing again a little bit if you're heavy, like the big block deers and things like that. So it's tough, and
Well, and like for us with 2 tractors, which again that's our choice, but now you're looking at 400 or 500 pounds that we got to carry on the gator, figuring out which scale we're going to have and how it's calibrated and all this situation. And there is a few places we've pulled where the scales are not sitting on a level cement pad. That's something I think NTPA should require their promoters to have.
And that seems to be the biggest thing, is actually being on a nice level spot for these scales.
Yeah. So,
before we let Matt go, I want to talk about his pro stock a little bit. You said you had that back in the 90s before your wife passed away, and I'm sorry to hear that, Matt. I had no idea. So, but
that was 90. You kept catching me off guard here, Jason. I want to say 94, 5, 6. We run Ohio State with it some.
Okay.
And it was we'd bought it. It was a 966, and needed a lot of upgrading, a lot of updating, but it let us kind of get our feet wet in the pulling world at that level. And actually, that tractor has got parted out to where there's parts of it went on the Survivor tractor that Todd Kendall built for Cancer Boy. The frame rails and the belly bars and stuff's all on that tractor. There's parts of it on 3 or 4 other tractors. So
I coincidentally run into the kid. That was for a kid that's survived cancer, correct?
Yes. Yep.
I run into the kid at the National FFA convention when I went in 2012 when I was a sophomore in high school. I run into the kid because I was at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and I had to go to Boyd's Pro Stock and sit on it. That's sitting in Lucas Oil. Of course, I wouldn't be a true tactical if I didn't do that. But run into the kid, and he's a good guy, and beautiful thing that they did that for. And I believe he didn't know it was coming, and then they debuted in front of him at a tractor pull or something like that.
Right, he didn't know it was coming, and actually it had got all painted and wrapped up, and Todd presented it to him at his county fair at the tractor pull in front of the grandstand. It was a really neat deal, and there was a huge amount of people that donated and contributed, and the atlases, the people, the component people that helped us out with that was unbelievable. So. And
that's the thing about pulling is too. They do so much for great charities. Like Badger State, we got the American Family Children's Hospital charity pull. I heard we did really good with that this year. And then just at this last pull we were at in Ridgeland, they had a kid who, how old was he? Wasn't very old.
He must have been maybe 3 or 4.
He had cancer and he was going through chemo and stuff, and he got to sit on Pickler's Light Super, and they just towed him down the center of the track, and everybody on that hillside at Ridgeland was standing up and clapping and stuff. It was really cool.
Nobody fell down.
Awesome.
Nobody fell down in Ridgeland. But
Ridgeland is a unique hill situation there.
And that's what's beauty about pulling is everybody comes together for stuff like that.
It is. It is an awesome family. Awesome family, yes.
Well, hey, Matt, we're going to definitely have you come back on a future show, and because we could talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, rattle off the next couple polls you're going to again, and do a little promoting. And
I want to do a little promoting. Yeah. We at my local county fair on Friday night, September 22nd. We did this last year for the first time, a light pro shootout. We're doing, and actually Weedy won it last year resoundingly. Last year we had $2,000 to win, and then we paid, I think, down 12, 13 places. Pretty good money. All from donors. We're doing the same thing again this year, September 22nd. It's a full pull productions event, but he's added the light pro class with NTPA rules for the shootout for us again. So then next Monday we have a Region 2 hook in Old Washington, which will be the last one on the east side of Ohio. There's 2 more on the west side in Indiana, but we're probably going to skip them.
Okay. Yeah, it's a busy schedule over there. All those Monday hooks and stuff. You guys are committed. I admire you guys.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on and spending some of your precious time with us tonight. And best of luck the rest of the season, and good luck at your county fair at the end of September. And we wish you only the best in 2018 as well. And hopefully you can come on again real soon.
Hey, be happy to. And Ryan, Jason, Collin, I appreciate what you guys are doing to promote tractor pulling. It's what we all got to do. So thank you for what you guys do.
Absolutely. Here, I refreshed the stats quick. We got to see how much people like you. Okay, 24,000 people.
That's more than that. More people like
Well,
that.
maybe they don't know him. So, thanks,
We're on 85 live devices.
Yeah.
I like it.
So.
Good. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity, fellas.
Thanks, Matt. Have a
Yeah,
good
thank
night,
you,
buddy.
Matt.
Thank you. Bye.
There's Jay's number.
So coming up next, we'll have Jay Staiger with MIssouri Invitational poll this weekend. We'll get him on the phone here.
Am I turned on, Ryan? Can I talk?
Yeah, you can. Talk
Okay,
now.
I can talk now. So what I like, Colin, while Ryan gets Jay on the phone, what Jay does is this bracket style pulling, and it's one thing we all know: the hook position matters.
Yeah.
And, there's really no way to fix it.
There's
You know what I
very
mean?
There's very little tracks that stay consistent for a
and-
class of 25, 30.
Right, and people like seeing that many in the class, and
Yeah.
I do too. But I want the same. I want the same chance as everybody else. I don't want to, because I respect everybody in my class. You know what I mean? 100%. I believe everybody's got a chance to win every single night. Do you know what I mean? Because that's why I think, like, if somebody's actually ever caught cheating and tractor pulling, deliberately cheating, I think it's not just you make yourself look horrible, but it's a disrespect to everybody in your class. We've all spent lots of money to build these machines to run well. That's kind of why I like this bracket style pulling, and it's exciting a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hello.
So, hey, Jay, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Welcome. So we got Collin Birkholz. He's got a light pro stock, him and his dad, and of course Ryan Zolik, the man behind the mic, and does all of a lot of our live videos at the Badger State events. Really excited to talk to you tonight. First of all, we got our page back today, so we're really excited about getting our Facebook page back today.
I saw the positive news. I was skeptical it would ever come back, but
No.
I was happy. I was happy to see it. And,
I think everybody
good
was.
evening to you, Colin and Ryan.
I think everybody was skeptical. I think we were really skeptical, and finally there was a lot of people I know, requested and send a message to Facebook every day. But I had a couple friends who had some friends who knew a guy who had a sister who had an aunt who worked at Facebook, and finally I got some emails last week, and I had to send through about 11 pages of notarized documents to prove that I really was the original owner or the starter or whatever of this Beard Money Pulling Team Facebook page. And it wasn't nobody was targeting pulling, Jay. They were targeting a popular page so they could post their clickbait up there, post those ads so it takes you to another website, and then these people get paid. And I guess it happens. So if you have a page with more than 100,000 likes, you need to change your passwords regularly and control your admins and stuff like that. So
That's interesting. It makes sense.
But here we go. So MIssouri Invitational, I got to know you last year when you had your first MIssouri Invitational. It would have been, I believe, May of 2016, and it came off without a hitch, right? I mean, you had the open stock trucks, or you call them pro stock trucks down by you? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Yep, that's right. We had pro stock trucks, and then we had a couple of tractor classes provided by MSTPA, Missouri State Tractor Pullers Association.
But you did the bracket style with the pro stock trucks last year, right?
That's right. That was the first experiment with the bracket style event, and it was so popular and it resonated so well with not just with the fans but with the pullers too, that we've rolled that out into every part of the competition this go around.
And that's what I love. I love people that are trying new things, thinking outside the box, and trying for a way to make it more exciting or put a different spin on it. Because we all know the sport of trucker and tractor pulling is great. We just had Matt Durbin on from Ohio, and everybody we talked to on the show, Jay, the friendship, the family that you form, the bond with your pulling brethren is amazing. But we get out there, and the one negative drawback about having a big class of 15 to 25 vehicles or more is to his hook position, and this bracket style pulling completely takes that out of the question. Can you talk about this? Why you started this? I mean, it's just so cool.
Well, I mean, you hit on one of the first key points of that. I mean, pullers may not, I would say that generally they don't complain about it, but let's call it what it is. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to drive 2, 3, 4, 5 hours or more, draw a terrible number that's the opposite of what they need, and then finish at the bottom of the class by no fault of their own or their vehicle. Nobody likes that. But everybody says, well, that's just part of pulling. Well, I say, no, it doesn't have to be.
Correct.
And this kind of goes against that, where you say, look, the track could change dramatically over the course of the pulling event, and it probably will.
And it
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because within a group of 3 vehicles, it's not going to change so significantly that all 3 of those vehicles don't have a fair chance to survive and advance. The other part of this that I think that maybe gets lost a little bit in the shuffle is with the very large classes, it's hard to keep the crowd engaged. Because it may be an hour since the tractor, or hour and a half since the truck or the tractor that's in the lead actually pulled. Most fans may not even remember who was in the lead by the time the class is over.
Well, no, we live in today's society. What have you done for me lately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we're going bang, 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 3 pullers, 12, 15 minutes, 2 winners. I'm sorry, a winner and 2 losers heading for the trailer. That's that instant gratification, edge of your seat, pulling excitement that we're trying to put on here at the MIssouri Invitational Fall Finals.
So that's this Saturday, right?
That's correct, 9/9 this Saturday.
And what town are we in again?
We are in Warrenton, Missouri, at the Warren County Fairgrounds.
Okay. And this is where you had it last spring, right? In 16?
It is not. We felt like, for a number of reasons, that we were near capacity at our very first event for the facility that we were at. So we moved it. We moved it about 15 minutes down the road to what I consider to be a bigger, nicer facility, and then have also some just fantastic partners with the Warren County Fair Association involved in this as well. So win-win on all sides there, and we've got better pits for the pullers, a lot more seating to accommodate more fans, and like I said, just looking to grow pulling, if you will.
Jay, is this an event? Is this a place that has a regular pull as well? Is this already a pulling grounds?
It is. They have the Warren County Fair in early July.
That's actually
right?
right?
It was a mid-Missouri truck and tractor pulling event this year, and I actually pulled in the event myself. And like I said, they just made me feel much better about the facility and everything. It was a fantastic event. We were scheduled to be for our event to be May 20th, and they received from Thursday evening night to Friday night 3.8 inches of rain in that 24-hour span, and it wasn't even close. We had to rain it out, and it was tough, but we got a lot of encouragement from sponsors and fans and pullers to say, why don't you give it another go here in the fall? So we rebranded it as the Fall Finals and relaunched it, and reselected the invitational field, and we're ready to go here in a few days.
One of the questions, Jay, we have for you from one of the listeners is, what criteria do you have for who is invited?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the things that I put a lot of time into, more time than anyone would ever guess or think is sane or reasonable, is poring over results from websites and collecting data and looking at who has done well. But it's not just about that. We do have some rules that our events our different classes have to meet, and it's really not an issue in the 3.0 diesels or the 3.6 Pro Stock diesels or the 8500 Limited Pro, but there are some differences in rules across the state of Missouri and Pro Stock trucks, and we selected a set to go with, which unfortunately, it is what it is, but it does eliminate some people from the opportunity. And then we look at vehicles that have won pulls, vehicles that have gotten second places in pulls. If you're consistent, but consistently middle of the pack, that doesn't maybe resonate as well as being able to pick up firsts and seconds in events with some of the major organizations here in Missouri. And then also a professional team, a vehicle that looks very professional. That weighs into this as well. So a lot of factors go into it. But let me tell you guys, just as an example, on the Pro Stock trucks, with just 5 associations, Outlaw, Excalibur, Mid-Missouri, MSTPA, and Southern Missouri, just on the Pro Stock side, there's been 85 different Pro Stock trucks pull at least one time with one of those organizations. To cut that to a field of 18 was a legitimate challenge.
Yeah, you're gonna have people that don't like you, Jay.
Do you have any hair left?
What's that?
You have any hair left on you or what?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You have to talk to my wife about that one, but
now
still some.
The NCAA feels like
Yeah.
for basketball.
And look, I think that's exactly right. We have trucks that are on the bubble, if you will, especially as we set the Missouri State Fair as the cutoff, because ultimately you have to make a cutoff at some point and say, look, we're just going to look up at results up until a certain time, and I arbitrarily set that as Missouri State Fair. And I got to tell you, there were a couple of trucks that were on the bubble, if you will, that had a really good showing through those last couple of weeks and up to and including the Missouri State Fair. And to use an NCAA tournament analogy, they played their way in. And so that's a fantastic thing, and excited to get the call. And one thing I'll also say out there to the fans listening, just because your favorite team or your favorite truck wasn't in the field, it doesn't necessarily mean that an invitation wasn't extended to them. Some people are in the middle of points races with various associations, or they have a conflict. We get some no's as we extend those invitations, and that is what it is. I mean, we would like to put out, the first invitations and get all yeses, but it's just not reality. We get some no's, and then we move down the list.
No, absolutely. Another question we have is, could you just kind of run through again, how the bracket's going to work? You kind of mentioned, you're going to take 3, and the winner from those first 3, vehicles. Just kind of run through. We have a couple people just tuning in right now, since this is kind of a new concept for polling still.
Absolutely. Well, in the from the spring event to the fall event, one of the things that I made a choice to make a change is we actually contracted the number of Pro Stock trucks from 24 down to 18, so that we could add a class of 8,500 limited Pro Stock tractors that often run with the PPL Western Series, also with Excalibur and Mid-Missouri here in Missouri. And you'd like to have everything, but you got to say, well, we can only get so many hooks in a night. So we have on 9.9 we have a class of 9 3.0 limited Pro Stock diesels. Now those will be grouped into 3 groups of 3. Also, we have 9 8,500 limited pros tractors, and they'll also be grouped into 3 groups of 3. And those 3 tractor or 3 truck pull-offs will pull, and in those 3 groups, there'll be 3 that move on to the finals later in the show. So we'll go from 9 to 3 on those 2 events. Now, on the Pro Stock trucks with the 18 vehicles, we'll have 6 3-truck pull-offs with 6 winners moving on to the semifinals. Now, in the semifinals, those 6 vehicles will be in 3 what I kind of have termed the battle round, 3 head-to-head matchups. So it'll be mano-a-mano in the second round with 2 and then 2 and then 2 again, with those 3 winners moving on to the finals. And then our special guests are 3.6 Pro Stock diesels. These freight train Pro Stock diesels are just amazing to everyone. We have 4 of those guys, and they're only pulling in 1 round, and you know what? To have them as part of the event, I'll take it in a heartbeat. But the one fun thing that we're doing is we have 2 of them from Missouri, and we have 2 from Illinois. And in addition to pulling against each other for the win and for the money and all of that, we're going to add the distance for the 2 trucks from Missouri and the 2 trucks from Illinois, and have a Missouri versus Illinois battle for bragging rights.
Love it.
I like that.
Love it.
And so not only will they be pulling against each other, they'll be kind of teaming with each other to try to represent the state. So that'll be a single round situation.
Jay, that's so cool. And before we let you go tonight, because I know we're going to wrap up here just in a few minutes, but talk about, didn't you have like a fog machine last year, and you had hero cards, and I've been super impressed with listening to the things with you do to entertain the fans. Can we share your secrets? Are you trying to surprise people? Or I guess I don't want to give anything away, but
absolutely, we are absolutely pushing the envelope on that. As we try to grow not only our event but the popularity of these events, it's my opinion that promoters need to maybe be more focused on the quality of the show. and we're going to push the pace, the overall pace of this show to move very quickly. We've got 40 different competitors going to make 55 hooks, and we're going to be done in 4 hours. So we're going to average about 14 an hour, which isn't a breakneck pace, but it's nice. It'll put on a nice show. But some of the things that we're planning is, you've been to events where they've had fireworks as part of the end of the show or something like that. We're actually going to incorporate a little pyro into the show, which is going to be exciting. So I'll leave that to everybody's imagination just as how, but that's actually going to be part of it. We've got 2 smoke machines. One of the fun things that we do is how would I say this? My vision is bringing these trucks onto the stage. Well, if you're going to have the best pulling stage in Missouri, you need to have a curtain. And so we're hanging a long black curtain-like thing, basically. And when we fire up the smoke machines and we let those vehicles come through the curtain in a group of 3, we're going to have some music blasting. Every truck is going to have their own intro song, which would be a lot like walk-up music for the trucks and the tractors. If you were comparing it to,
that's cool.
If you're comparing that to like Major League Baseball, where all the players have their own song when they come up to bat, each vehicle will have their own unique walk-up music, if you will. And we're concentrated on putting on just a top shelf show, not just like the analogy I use, not just like a basketball coach rolling the ball out there for everybody, but really focused on the quality of the show. The pullers themselves, this field is just incredible. Pullers coming from every corner of Missouri. I mean, literally every corner of Missouri, and top to bottom. What I love about the show is you won't be able to pencil anybody into the next round or pencil anybody into the finals. It's and that's part of what we learned last year is there's favorites and there's underdogs, and the favorites don't always win. And so the quality of the pulling is top shelf, but we try to add that little extra by putting on a fast-paced, exciting show for the fans.
And Jay, before I let you go, just run down, the start times and when the gates open and the admission and where the event is taking place. Just one more time for everyone.
No, absolutely.
We'll share your Facebook page and your website as well.
No, guys, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much again for having me on. We're going to be at the Warren County Fairgrounds, Warrenton, Missouri. Gates are going to open to the public at 4 p.m. We're going to try to have all of the pullers in place by 4 p.m. And so we're encouraging everybody to come early. Make your way through the pits, meet your favorite drivers, see their vehicles, and we're going to do the live bracket draw at 4:30. I think that's going to be an exciting addition to this event this year, is that they're going to be able to see it all happen live out of the hat. And I think it's going to be good theater and be a lot of fun for all the pullers and everybody and so on and so forth. We're looking to start the event at 6 o'clock sharp. And I'm hoping to be done with the show entirely in its completion somewhere in that window from 10 to 10:45, 10 to 10:15, 10:45, somewhere in there.
No, that sounds great. Yeah. And hopefully, I don't know what the weather is going to be like down there, but I hope it's going to be staying really well. Up here looks really great. So
no, we got a rain came through tonight, okay. But I think the track could have used a little moisture. We've been dry down here, but it is supposed to be fantastic weather in the high 70s, maybe even creeping into the low 80s, and I say knock on wood, very little if no chance of rain. Yeah. It's Missouri, anything can happen, but right now it looks a lot better than it did back in May. So we're excited about that as well.
Awesome. Jay, oops, go ahead, Jay.
I was just going to say the one other thing that we do that I really want, for the people listening, is one of the very important pillars that we try to add to this event is the pullers pay nothing to come to be part of this event. They get no entry fee whatsoever. They're putting on the show. They're putting on the event. I guess you could call me anti-entry fees. And I think that's a platform and a part where the pullers aren't paying for the show. They are the show. And we appreciate the time that they take to put in, amounts of resources into these machines that are just incredible, and their time to come out. And, without them, if I was doing a bracket style event with guys pulling trucks off the street, it might be semi-interesting, but it wouldn't be the fall finals. It wouldn't be as exciting and amped up as it's going to be on Saturday night. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Jay, before we let you go, I know Clint Tucker went and watched you last year, and Clint's kind of my hero on things when trying new things. He's always trying different things at Gordyville. Have you had any like big time associations talk to you, or this will be the second time you're doing it, third time you've tried, if you will, because of the weather. I love it. There has to be a buzz. There has to be a buzz out there. You're hearing anything from anybody else, or what are you hearing?
Well, it's interesting. The best form of compliment is often flat. The imitation is the best form of flattery, I think, is how it's supposed to be said. There's another event that's trying some interesting format things. I'm not sure exactly, but over on the other side of the state in Nevada, Missouri, on the 30th of September, it's a good friend of mine and a fellow pro stock puller is trying something a little different there on his show. And I think the biggest hurdle, honestly, guys, is this points championship thing that we get wrapped up into. And I think, in my opinion, the way around that is if you're still so focused on, how are you going to do the points when you do an event like this, is you can still take everybody's distances from the first round, because everybody's getting their turn to pull, and place them however they would have placed first through whatever, and then and still do that. But as far as being approached by any associations, I don't think we're there yet. But I've had a lot of interesting conversations with pullers and fans who love the concept, and it puts a hell of a product on the track that's exciting. And I think that I felt like the buzz in the pulling community, guys, after the pull was such, and the feedback that I got was such. I said, I've got to roll this out to everything, because the pro stock trucks, the event. I tell you what, by the time we rolled out to the finals, the tense nature, the energy in the air, it was just awesome. And a lot of people still talking about that now, a year and a half later. And now we're going to recreate that, not with one event, one class, but 4 different ones. And the level of equipment, the level of vehicles, just really impressive.
Do you think there's any negatives from running multiple times in a night or in a session?
Well, I think, if you ask most pullers and you said, would you rather go to 20 events a year and pull one time, or would you rather go to 10 events a year and pull 2 times? I'd say there'd be a fair amount of people that would lean towards pulling twice at each event and going to half the number of events. Now, does that fit with everybody's vision of what pulling should be? Maybe, maybe not. But it comes down to cooling time. Well, that's not a problem with our event, because the way that it's organized, the minimum amount of time that anybody would have to cool is over an hour. And when you're talking about temperatures in the low 70s, I don't think anybody really is legitimately concerned about that proper cooling time. Will we have to be ready and shift some weight around with the Bobcat? Absolutely. But the truth of the matter is, if we're on the game and we have the Bobcat there ready to do his thing, we'll probably have the weight box changed before the next 3 vehicles enter the track. That's one of the fun things we do, is we bring all 3 vehicles onto the track at the same time. And that makes it very clear for the fans. You're not just running them in one at a time. It's like, hey, these 3 competitors are battling each other, and one of these 3 is going to come out on top. And we pull one, we pull the other one, we pull the third one, and then 3 more come back out on the track, and we put the second and third puller to the left and right of the sled. But it really puts all 3 vehicles out there. You hear them all run at the same time. I'm telling you, put some energy in the air.
I love it, Jay. I love your enthusiasm. I love your passion. And I hope this catches on. I think points. Who wants points more, a puller or an association? Because that's how. And I'm not trying to be down on any of it, but association, that's how they do you. We want you to come to all these events, guys, to put on a show. So we got our promoters. But this is cool. I like what you're doing, Jay. That's
maybe you're hitting on the head of why maybe associations aren't sharing the vision quite as much, because the points thing, right? That benefits them. Try to get people to continue to come back and come to events to maintain their standings and so on and so forth. I think one of the exciting things about this is we're bringing pullers in, your regional powerhouses from a number of different associations, people that don't often get to lock horns. You'll hear about this truck or that truck dominating a series and winning several pulls in a row. And you say, boy, I wonder how they would do against someone else. Well, then they may go to the Missouri State Fair in a 27 truck pull. And I think the statistic from this last Missouri State Fair is 9 of the top 10 pullers in the standings were 9 of the first 11 pullers.
Yep.
So there you go. I mean, they'd say, well, how am I supposed to lock horns with best of the best when the track decides who wins? But, here, you can get lucky in a pull-off. It's not impossible, but you're not going to win this thing without beating the best, period. You're just not. You can't.
No, I love it, Jay, and I'm hoping some other podcasts will pick you up and talk about it, and different things like that as well, because we have our audience and other shows have their audiences, and I just saw Eric Pruitt just jumped on, so hopefully the Pulling Radio Network will get a hold of you, or who else out there, that Swank on Sports guy. There's a lot of podcasts out there, Jay, and I just love what you're doing because you're doing something different. I like having 3 or 4 major pulling associations because it keeps everybody honest. Mm-hmm. We're constantly looking for new ideas, and we live in America. That's the greatest country in the world, and it's free thinking, different ideas, and at the end of the day, we're the ones putting on the show. And I love where your head is. I really love where your head is, and I'm glad you reached out.
When I came up with this idea, and I laugh, I probably told this story last year. I'm literally watching NHRA on ESPN, and they show what they call the ladder or their bracket.
Yep.
About every 5 minutes, it seemed like, and I was sitting there watching it in bed that Sunday night, and I said, man, why couldn't we do something like that in pulling? I mean, literally, that's how this started.
Yep.
Is just why couldn't we do this in pulling? And I said, if I'm going to promote an event, and it represents me in some way, I'm not just going to be the basketball coach that rolls the ball out there.
Yep.
I'm going to make it have an extension of myself and do it the way that I want to do it. And it's not about me. It's not about even the pullers. It's about the show for the fans. Because if I can put on just an incredible show for the fans that people are talking about for weeks and months afterwards, they're going to come back next year.
Yep.
And they're going to come back the year after that, and they're going to bring friends back. If it's a ho-hum show and it's the same as what they get to see and all of that, well, then, yeah, you probably draw from the local communities. But what I've been so excited about is the people coming from not just pullers, but the fans coming from what I consider to be long distances to see this event and their passion for it and their excitement. I had one guy tell me, I've been waiting for September 9th since May 20th. And, just a lot of excitement for the event. And this is only our second event. That's what's exciting. I think bringing all of the vehicles in these groups of 3, the Pro Stock trucks, we're even billing that as a super pull-off because we're going to bring all 4 of them out on the track at the same time.
But that's
the 3.6 Pro Stock diesels.
That's a showmanship of it.
Yeah.
That's the entertaining side of the event that I think we can all do a better job of. I really do.
Yeah, I think we got the fireworks, we got the smoke machines, we got the intro songs, we got the curtain and bringing people on the stage. I mean, really, and there's several other ideas that we've come up with that my brother, Jerry, who helps with this event, and my first cousin, Darren Cole, and his son, Andrew, a family deal that they all help with, a number of other friends who are involved in this, too many to name. I think what's fun for me is they share the excitement, and some of these ideas come from them and say, hey, wouldn't it be neat if we did this? And then fast forward, and we are doing it. And I think sharing that, to kind of close up here, to share that is how we grow pulling, to get that infectious excitement, to get people get it on their mind to think about how we can put on a more exciting show.
And you're exactly right, because pulling is short of pullers. We're short of new fans.
Absolutely.
And things like this can do that. And because I love Street Outlaws. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I love Street Outlaws. I'd love the list.
Of it,
the list.
And
there's a lot of great personalities in pulling. Yeah. And even if I would love to get out on the track with, like the Badger State guys.
Randy Baru on
or call out Tom Gallett, say, you bald-haired little short fella. Because we pick on each other all the time. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your butt. Here's $500, and let's throw it down. And just like Jay's doing, there's no hook position. It's back to back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love it. I love it, Jay. I could talk to you all night long.
No, it's great, guys. Thank you for. It's funny you mentioned the Street Outlaws. Mike Miller, driver of the Big Deal Chevrolet out of Rosebud, Missouri. He came up with that exact idea. He said, "Are we going to do call-outs?" And I rattled it around. And I said, "Boy, that's an interesting idea, and this and that." But it's something that we're going to let rattle around for a while, and something we may do in the future. I think that, for now we're going to try the random draw this year and see how that goes. And no good idea off, as far as that goes is ever off the table, so it's funny that you mentioned that. There's already pullers in this competition and otherwise thinking on the same lines as you, Jason.
Well, I think it's just fun. I just want to be a better entertainer. I want to pull as long as I can afford it. I love it. I love the people. I love the competition. And I love pulling. And I
didn't hit the prices. You said that it's $15 for adults.
Very affordable.
It's $5 for kids 6 to 12, and 5 and under are free. And we do encourage people to come early and see the live bracket draw at 4:30 to meet the drivers, see the machines. I think one of the parts of pulling that I've seen decline over, I'd say, the last 5 years is the accessibility to the pullers and to the pits. And I know that there's a safety line that has to be drawn, but we're trying to have it early enough where people can get up close to their favorite pullers and meet their favorite drivers. And, the kids get with their stars in their eyes and the excitement. That's what it's all about, guys.
Yep. Well, hey, Ryan, let's have Jay. Jay, get a hold of us. Shoot me a message on Facebook. Call me, text me. In a few weeks after you catch your breath and you kind of want to come in and overview the event and talk about the winners, we'd love to have you back on. So. Oh,
absolutely. And we've even got Kyler Berry Pulling Productions is going to do some photography there. We've got John Holloman with Holla Monster going to do a video of the event. And so there'll be some things out there, some photos and video from the event. And I'd love to be back on and kind of do a recap and see where we're going from here. I mean, today it's one day event. Tomorrow maybe it's first rounds on Friday and it's finals on Saturday.
We're seeing we're seeing people comment on that. You'll have to kind of scroll through the comments as after we're done. So I'm going to let you go, Jay, because we're going to move on. We're going to log off and move on.
Absolutely,
to the
guys.
Show. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. You guys have a great night. Thank you again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Collin, Ryan, let's wrap this up. But what a good night to be back on the Let's Grow Pulling Beer Money Pulling Team page. We had good, I would say, Ryan, better than normal comments tonight. But I mean, I think having a good guest really helps a lot. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I asked Ryan, I'll text him Monday morning, who should we have on the show tonight? I need to do a better job of staying ahead of it. But we do this for fun, but we take it very serious. But it's still, real life is more important. We get busy. I guess having a nice Labor Day like this, and I guess the excitement basically of getting our page back. That page, when we lost it on August 18th, right before Bowling Green, was reaching 10 million people in 7 days. And even during all the crap that they were putting up there, it was still reaching 300,000 to 500,000 people a day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So our fans, at first I was like, you know what? It's just a stupid Facebook page. But then people started telling me how much it meant to them when we shared their posts. Yeah. When we shared their posts. Because I talked about this with Miles a little bit when we had him on. It was like, you know what? Maybe it's just a blessing in disguise. Because it is. Because it's a ton of work and hours and hours and hours into the page, and different things like that. But when I started hearing from people, it was like, when you share our stuff, or when we share an association, or we promote a poll. I shared your video of your GoPro an hour ago. It's up 2,000 more views. Yeah. We got lucky, but we worked hard. And we got lucky when we started the page before Facebook went public. And we have a huge following. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's just by nature, it's going to be, it's an absolute blessing for social media if we share somebody else's stuff. And I don't think Facebook's going anywhere, guys. Snapchat's tried. Everybody's gonna have their little piece of it, but Facebook is the monster. It's the McDonald's of the social media world. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So it's not perfect. I'm not mad at Facebook for what happened. I get it. Yeah. If I was a little hacker living somewhere in a hut somewhere in across the pond in a sand cave, I would make a couple $100 a day. If I could wipe this page, I'd try it again too. And I'm scared to death of it happening again. Yeah. And we're going to try our butts off for it not to happen. And I had one of my tech guys call me tonight and help me with some password things and different things like that. So I know we got to get to the Badger State show, but Collin, it's great having you in studio. We love having you in. Ryan, of course, is always here on Monday nights, but Matt Durbin was a great guest. And that's what's nice about you, Collin. Like, Ryan and I kind of run in the same circles with the Badger State stuff, and you're bringing in some new blood, and like going to Henry, Illinois and meeting Carlton Cope and having him on, and Mike Everson last week of the Massey Ferguson show. We're having fun. We're entertaining, but we're still educating at the same time. And I'm learning a lot about pullers as well, and I really, really enjoy it. And that's what makes this fun. And I would miss this if I wasn't able to do this. So.
Great sport, like we talked about all the stuff like the charities we do and just a great family. We can all just go and tell each other what we think of the track and stuff. Everybody gets along real good for the most part.
Yep. Well, not everybody's gonna like you.
Well, all families have feuds though too, so we gotta have that.
Yeah.
So I'm Jason Schultz.
What would be
You're Collin.
What would be your walk-up song, Schultz?
What would be my walk-up
You're
song?
not allowed Ice Ice Baby. Not allowed that.
Ding, 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 ding. Probably AC/DC Money Talks.
All right.
I love that show. I love that show. I love that song. I love that song. So, but let's get out of here. Let's switch over to Badger State, and then we're going to just kind of do a season wrap-up, see where we got 2 hooks left. Viroqua, that's a new poll, and that's a heck of a good track. So, this time of the year, you can kind of pick off, I don't want to say pick off pullers from other associations, but like NTPA is pretty much done after Sandwich, right?
Yeah, it's
like for us in the Midwest.
Enderley.
Yeah.
If you're not in the Enderley.
If you're not in the league, come to Viroqua, Wisconsin. Come to Monroe, Wisconsin. And we'll treat you like family. And we'd love to have you.
Yep.
So, later.
Yeah.